also touch on some further information on YPN. For those that are joining us that are not familiar with YPN, it is the Young Professionals Network. It's a dynamic entry point for real estate professionals striving to become more successful in their careers and gain leadership experience. There's local, state, and national YPN chapters that strive to build on a diverse generation of leaders by strengthening members' affinity for the realtor brand. We also have an emerging leadership scholarship that I'll jump on, or I'll mention a little later in the program. But if you want to learn more about GLAR YPN, please go to the website, just www.glarypn.com. There's no cost to join. And then joining us today, we have Jonathan Klunk. We do also have Mr. Ernie Bottoms, all the way from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and then Dylan Cole. Everyone, thank you for being here today. We really appreciate it. I'm going to start with Jonathan. Jonathan, I'll give you a little background on yourself, and then you certainly will give you the floor and go from there. So Jonathan is currently regarded as one of Louisville's top up-and-coming realtors and is pioneering the future of the Louisville real estate market with a revolutionary approach to property positioning, digital marketing, and technology. It's what can often be seen as a traditional market. Jonathan represents a new type of realtor that understands the complexity of the digital market and what it takes to be a successful agent in this day and age. Jonathan is also the CEO of Key Source Properties, the leading short-term rental management company in Louisville with over 65 properties under management, generating $3 million in revenue in 2019 alone. In addition to short-term rental management and real estate sales, Jonathan and his team also excels in traditional property management and for further expansion in all three areas. Jonathan, thank you for joining us. I've seen a bunch of stuff about Key Source Properties, a bunch of your marketing. It's certainly innovative. It's awesome. It's cutting edge. I think for our market that maybe is a little bit behind when it comes to some of the more, I think, tailored marketing approaches. But I'll, like I said, turn the floor over to you. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, how you got into real estate, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Yes, thank you for having me today. Very eager to kick off this discussion and see what kind of questions people have about technology, social media, digital marketing, and real estate. My background prior to real estate is in technology sales, where I worked for about 9 years between AT&T and Level 3 Communications, designing and selling private global networks to large enterprise customers. And so I think that the transition was pretty seamless. We were early adopters of short-term rentals in our personal lives, vocal about our success, and the opportunity to provide management services and really turn that into a business happened organically. I've always had a love and interest in real estate, and that was the catalyst that really got us started. I became a licensed realtor only about a year and a half ago, and I was with Gan Hill & Associates at the time. As of just yesterday, I'm now a partner in a brand new brokerage called 6 Degrees, 6 Degrees Real Estate. And so we're very eager to begin building that brand and utilizing a lot of what we're going to be talking about today to get out and really make a dent in the marketplace and change the way that real estate is done in large part in Louisville.
Fantastic. And I think you're maybe being a little bit modest when it comes to your short-term rental experience. I think I've read a lot about the growth of that company. I'm curious what it seems like you got into the real estate business maybe a little bit backwards. You started with a short-term rental, and then it was, okay, I think maybe I can springboard this into a career in itself. But what was kind of your initial interest in the short-term rental market, and then maybe how did you get your company started? What was, in terms of marketing? Was it word of mouth? What kind of, ideas did you start with from the start there?
Our interest in short-term rentals began just being a real estate investor. We had a property, we weren't sure what to do with it. We had terrible luck with long-term tenants, illegal activity, drug use, neighbors complaining. So we happened to use Airbnb very early on And I was just intrigued by the concept and the idea. We decided to use it for Derby one year and rent the house out that way. We had enough furniture to furnish the property. And we were booked right away, and the calendar just started filling up way beyond that. I had no idea that it was going to be as well received as it was. There wasn't a ton of market research or data to look at that time. It was really just a hope and a prayer. And it exceeded our expectations. And we really didn't have any other desire to do anything else with the property after that time. And the experience that we had working with all of the fantastic guests coming in from various parts of the country with interesting stories. So that was really how we started. And just through sharing with friends and family what we had done, many other people saw the potential there and were intrigued by the idea. We initially started only with consulting, helping them get set up just like we did. When they understood how complex it was, changing the linen, communicating with guests, literally every day you could be doing laundry and having people come in to clean the property. It was more than a lot of people wanted to handle on their own. So that's really what led way to eSource Properties. At our highest point, we had about 70 different listings under management across 3 states. And from there, we made some adjustments within the company to because of the real estate business and the growth of traditional property management and real estate sales as well. So we're at a really good number right now of about 50. That's where we want to be. We're very selective in the properties that we choose, understanding what people want when they come to Louisville, what they're looking for. So we have 50 of the properties that we feel would be most productive and profitable in the space, best and highest use. And so those are the ones that we currently operate with now. We've created a cleaning company, linen company, to be able to service all the unique needs of these properties, and it's a very turnkey solution for the clients that we work with.
That's fantastic.
Airbnb and VRBO, a lot of these channels, they're marketing engines in and of themselves. So very little is needed behind the scenes, to take direct reservations or anything of that nature. And, so the money that we pay to them for each guest who stays with us, they use that to further their brand, to continue to invest in their platform. And, we take the approach of, why should we reinvent the wheel when we can very much allow them to do the work for us? Because they're all very forward thinking in their industries, like we're trying to be in the real estate industry.
Absolutely. A lot of moving parts in that business, and we'll certainly jump more to your current kind of real estate approach and marketing endeavors on that side of things. Quickly staying on the short-term rental component, I'm curious with the success that you guys have had, and certainly the volume of properties that you're involved with, and some of the disruption that's currently underway. If you could briefly share, how that has looked. What do you see kind of moving forward? Are you seeing some maybe things kind of building back up? Do you have clients that are maybe a little bit nervous about, being able to withstand the impact that the Corona's had and being able to maintain their property and some of the expenses that are associated with the ownership component there? And then on top of that, for folks that are looking to get into short-term rentals, I think like anyone, I want to get into real estate or I want to have a rental house, and then the short-term rental components like a rental house on steroids in terms of the attention from the ownership or management component and what those expenses maybe look like from an investment perspective. So maybe I've bottled a lot of questions at once. I think you can handle it, but interesting to kind of get your insights on where that market stands locally. Are some of these houses just simply going to have to be eventually put back on market because sustaining these expenses with maybe tenant use down or user use being decreased, due to the epidemic?
Well, short-term rentals definitely do follow a lot of the hospitality industry trends. That's something that we followed closely over the years, and March 19th will forever go down in infamy as the date that all of the mass cancellations started rolling in. We definitely were on our way to doing about $2.5 million this year just in reservations alone. And a lot of that was refunded, and we've had to pivot strategy and make accommodations for that. However, you rest assured none of these properties are sitting vacant right now. there is also a huge need in our market for just furnished accommodations. These are people who are relocating to Louisville for various reasons. We have many medical professionals who are staying with us that have accepted positions before COVID, and they're essential employees, so they're still continuing to move here. And with the real estate market the way that it is, fewer than 2,000 properties even on the market at the moment, it's a very competitive marketplace. So a lot of people are choosing to rent 2-3 months, all the way up to 12 months, something that's furnished, all inclusive, while they take their time to get adjusted, learn the city, and see what's on the market today. So I would say about 95% of our properties are rented on a month-to-month basis. We pivoted very quickly, and we're able to position these properties that way and find more traditional style leases. So these people are signing lease agreements, they're giving us damage deposits. We continue operation on our side, taking care of the lawn, utilities, mortgage payments, everything else that is associated with operating short-term rental from an expense standpoint. However, they have one monthly fee that they pay, and a lot of these contracts are about 3 to 4 months average in lease or in length, and then we have people lining up ready to fill that as soon as they leave, showing us definitely which properties some kind of reign supreme in positioning and favorability with some of the people who are looking to rent. But everything is we're starting to see a little bit of a turn in short-term rentals, picking back up, especially with Derby coming up, and travel is not slowing down to Louisville right now. I think everybody are being cautious about it, and short-term rentals are a great way to be cautious whenever you travel. And a lot of industry experts believe that it will recover even before hotels will, because you don't have the front desk staff, you don't have elevators, you don't have outside vendors, contractors, people that you run into, food service. People can go to the grocery store, make all the meals inside of the house, not interact with other people, and still kind of continue to isolate the way that they need to while still being on vacation. And of course, a lot of the trends now with people being able to work from home or remotely, the trend is, not just work from home, but you can work from any home. So, get out, get a change of scenery, and connect to the Wi-Fi and do whatever you need to during the day, and kind of explore the city very cautiously in the afternoon. But there are a lot of people who are operating in that capacity right now. From an expense standpoint, short-term rentals are a lot similar to long-term rentals in many ways, except that, you have your guests, they're averaging stays of anywhere between, 1 and 4 days, as opposed to 12 months at a time. We still have to handle repairs like everybody else does. You still have to make your mortgage insurance payments. But at the same time, you do have often a higher return. And then you have the cost of your utilities and guest supplies. Those guest supplies, depending on the property and number of guests that you have, could range anywhere from $50 to $150 a month. So they're not significant, for toilet paper, paper towels, incidentals. But above and beyond that, it's really just the property maintenance, yard maintenance, and the utility costs that you'll be assuming. And then, of course, there's seasonality. So, some months you could make $6,000 in gross revenue. In other months, you could be almost dead, except for the holiday that comes in. And that's usually November through February are the slowest times in the season.
Well, good to hear some positive news on that front. I think a lot of the correspondences we maybe read is that market is vulnerable right now. And certainly that may be the case in some larger cities that have a little bit more of a volume in terms of the short-term rental. So I commend your group in terms of being able to pivot and shift as opposed to wait and see and figure it out. So it's actually refreshing to get some positive news on that front. I know that certainly hasn't been easy when you're dealing with that volume of properties and maybe different ownership across the board. So commend you for that. Now let's shift to I wouldn't say your new role, but maybe your more day job, so to speak, in terms of the real estate component, the realtor piece. Your marketing's very clean, it's fresh. And so what has kind of been your approach? You joined your new firm. And so I'm interested to see kind of what your all's approach is, what you've seen that you want to do differently, and kind of what's in store for you guys moving forward.
Well, I think that in real estate, kind of What the future of it looks like is really in your marketing. So this is how you're going to position yourself, the voice that you have, the value that you're bringing to the marketplace, and the audience that you reach. Social media, digital marketing is really enabling us to reach a wider market than before. We can't have one-on-one conversations with enough people, to drive the type of business that we're looking to create. So we want to go out and be very hyper-targeted and even micro-targeted in who we're finding and using the tools that are available from a traditional marketing standpoint and adapting those to the real estate market. From an MLS standpoint, from utilizing Zillow, Realtor.com, all those traditional avenues, those are all still there. Everybody are utilizing those, and that's not necessarily where we're seeing the biggest change in the real estate market. It's really in how you interact with people, the voice that you have, and the platform that's enabling all of that to happen. So you can become an industry expert and share that knowledge and add more value to the transaction, which encourages people to want to work with you because that's different. They like how that stands out to them. I mean, people reach out to us all the time and they're like, I just want to work with you because I see your face everywhere. You're so positive with what you're delivering, and all of that resonates with me. And I think that this would be a great experience.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is people want to work with, people they know they'll enjoy throughout a process that can oftentimes be burdensome and difficult. In terms of, I run into a lot of realtors or industry professionals that maybe tighten the purse strings a little bit when it comes to marketing or getting their branding out there. And it's maybe I'll defer to, I get this sale done and then get this commission, and then I'll promise I'll commit certain funds to my next listing. But also, being a realtor and getting started, there are expenses associated with it, and you certainly there's no typical income coming in. But maybe what advice do you have for folks that maybe look at the challenge that comes with marketing or certain avenues? Okay, I could go on and do some Facebook branding or paid ads, but do I see a quantifiable ROI on that? So I think for folks that are maybe hesitant to put themselves out there or certainly pay, they don't know where to get started or what may work. And what kind of advice do you have for folks that may be feeling those sentiments?
Well, we had actually put together a presentation for today that covers a lot of those pieces. We were going to touch on social media and a lot of the actions that you could start taking today to implement a strategy and start seeing a return on your investment. But the good thing about digital marketing is it's extremely measurable. If you're to place an ad in a newspaper, if you're to send out a postcard, the only way to really track what evidence or the evidence of what you're doing is by how many people have called you or how many people have reached out to you. But there are so many other metrics that can be tracked. And the social and digital game is still very much a long game. Yes, you could, run an ad today, trying to see who's interested in buying a house, selling a house, and see how many leads are generated and follow up on those, and that's an immediate return. But for the most part, we're getting out in front of people who may not need to make a transaction for the next 1, 2, 3 years. But whenever they do, hopefully we're going to be positioned to be top of mind for them. So in that way, the results are still measurable with how many impressions you're getting, how many likes you're getting, but that you're getting in front of the right people. You're able to better find your core target audience who will not only your message resonate with them and they're likely to use you whenever they have a transaction that needs to be done, but they're also going to go one step further and share something that you're putting out there because they see value in it, they see humor in it, whatever your voice winds up being. And so that's even more powerful because, it's not coming from you, it's coming from somebody else. You're able to penetrate and get into their market a little bit more. And so that's kind of the digital word of mouth that's happening these days.
Perfect. So, and do you have the presentation, or maybe I missed that?
I do. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Let's run through that. I think that'd be valuable as opposed to me asking any more questions, and we can certainly hit through the talking points there.
I did have a quick poll. I'm going to give people just a second to take it, but
Great.
We might be a little bit further along than we needed to be. But this first one is which social media channels do you currently use? I see the one up there now. Would you rather live without your smartphone or without your car? And wow, smartphone 64%. See, I said car because Uber exists, and a lot of other things, but I can't borrow a smartphone. And that's how I run my business. So, so I'd have to go without the car.
Perfect.
The results are coming in. Looks great.
And I will remind everyone that if you do have questions, please hit the Q&A piece and certainly throw out some questions that we'll get to later in the programming.
TikTok, very good. Exactly as I expected. Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, taking the top there. TikTok, probably, being adopted mostly by the millennial generation now, and yet to be seen exactly what that looks like, but obviously hitting the market with record downloads and usage, which is interesting. And that's all video driven. And so that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about today, is adopting and utilizing video. And there are a lot of tools on the market to make it much easier. You don't need all the equipment. Every video that we've done so far has been made on an iPhone, believe it or not. All right, so that one, let's see. So we'll close that one. And I just had one other one. Let me see if I can get it up. Which of these social channels do you currently use to generate business? I suspect these results would be very similar to the ones that people are currently using, because we use what is most familiar to us.
And as we wait for those results to come in, Jonathan, what advice do you have for folks that are just afraid to put themselves out there? They feel like maybe their timelines are inundated with real estate ads, differentiating yourselves in terms of your marketing. Interested to get some insights there as well.
Well, if you're afraid to get started because everybody else is doing it or the market is saturated, then that's not going to change. That's a perception. I saw actually somebody posted on Facebook the other day, and they said, how many ads do you see a week for real estate? And the fact of the matter is, your social media channels know you. They know that we're in real estate. We're going to see a lot more real estate than your average consumer is going to see. That's why you have to work with. We're going to show split tests, different things that you can test, getting into different areas of real estate as well, and providing that value. You're going to be able to attract new home buyers, people who are looking, all kinds of things. Whenever you actually put yourself out there. Believe it or not, I was afraid to get started in video as well. Interview is one thing. You're over here bouncing ideas off of me, but when you're in front of the camera, it's only you. It's what's in your head. It's coming out of your mouth. There are bullies on social media. Very easily, we could put something out and you start getting negative responses. You have to have very thick skin. You have to still reply to these people and delegate those answers. So it can be very intimidating, especially if you're a perfectionist and you want nothing but perfection. And it's not going to come with the first video, the first 3, 4, 5 videos. And if you're, especially if you're like me and you're your own worst critic, nothing is ever good enough, but you just have to throw it out there, and you'd be surprised the positive response that you get, whether you're going, Snapchat, Instagram, live, or, doing a live story from a property, believe it or not, you're going to find that core audience who's very supportive of you. And that's a great way to continue to stay in front of them and provide relevant information.
Perfect.
All right. So those responses were exactly as I had assumed. Most people are using the traditional long-standing platforms that are Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Those are all great. They're the most utilized, but you'll see that there are many that aren't being utilized yet still have millions of users. So for the early adopters who like to get out there and experiment with new and unique things, these are going to present opportunities for you to grow your business and become an expert on a platform and have millions and millions of followers, potentially, if you're doing something that's new and unique, and not trying to recreate what other people are doing in some of these other spaces. So if whoever wants to go out there and take over TikTok, please do, and I will follow you. But let's see, I think, here we go, open. I think we already had it loaded here.
Great.
So, can everybody see that?
We are good to go.
All right. Now I just need to know how to, okay, there we go. I can go forward on this one. So this is just initial slide. Thank you guys again for joining. We've done our 2 polls that we had here. I included these slides. I wasn't sure how this was going to work today. But why use real estate or social media in real estate? A lot of the information that you're going to see is really targeted toward the millennial user, because as you can see on all but the 1%, according to 2017 report from NAR, 99% of millennials do want to get online and get information about the homes that they're buying. I don't know what the other 1% is doing. They must be looking at the newspaper or something. But I would say 100% of millennials really want to be doing this right now. And this isn't a generational thing either. We will see that, more and more people, my parents are using, and they're in their 70s now, and they're using their smartphones. And I guarantee you that this is the first thing that they're going to look at if they're looking to buy or sell their house. Above and beyond this, some of the numbers that we've seen, 85% of buyers and sellers in one poll that we looked at do want to work with an agent who is using video as part of their marketing strategy, because people know the power of video. They're watching videos. They prefer watching video to reading text because it's a lot easier. It's informative, it's entertaining, and people are telling them what to do. So video is becoming very, very common in our lives today. And I encourage people to become early adopters. Put yourself out there in front of the camera, because it's not going away. Just because you're not using it doesn't mean that it's going anywhere. It's still going to become more and more the preferred method of advertisements, of entertainment, and receiving information. Like it or not, millennials are your next generation of home buyers as well. As baby boomers start to downsize and sell off their properties, we're about to see the greatest transformation of wealth in the United States history, from baby boomers to all of their descendants. They're going to be receiving these large properties. It's not going to be their style. They're going to sell it off. So we're going to be working primarily with millennials in the coming decade and 2 decades. So we definitely want to stay adept to technology, what's new, what's coming out, and utilize as much of it as possible to further our brand and in the marketing of each of our properties. Again, just kind of leading on that, millennials are leading the agents and brokers today, introducing features like live streaming video. One of the things that I like to do on Saturdays, I'm out getting properties ready for market. I'll jump on Instagram. I'll do a quick live story telling them what I'm doing, staying in front of my audience, staying in touch with them. It's amazing how many people reach out. They just love seeing that we're out working so hard. Great perception that we're building in the minds of those who are following us and what we're doing. Top 3 tips for getting involved in social media: become a master of just 1 or 2. If you try and do too much on too many platforms, it's going to be very challenging to stay up to date on those, to stay in contact with everybody who's reaching out to you. So really get in and understand the nuts and the bolts of about 2 of these social media platforms. Know them inside and out, and find strategies that are going to make you successful. I probably mentioned voice about 15 times so far. So that's another very important thing, is to find that voice of who you want to be on social media. It's not enough to just get out there and share a new listing that you have. I mean, that's a great way for somebody who's not doing real estate day to day, like most of us here are, to unfollow you or become disinterested and stop engaging with your posts if they're just seeing new listings and they're not looking for a house right now. So let's get a little bit more creative in how we're positioning things and the type of information that we're sharing. Make it valuable to as many people as possible, and not just those who are just looking for a property right now. And of course, create a strategy. This comes with knowing both your core market, which comes with testing, and it also comes with understanding the platform and how best to engage with the platform. Your strategy will become very apparent the more you do it, and the more you interact with your network. So Facebook, everybody is very familiar with Facebook, I'm sure. We use it on a daily basis, but here are some of the benefits of using it for your business as well. Number 1, you do have the ability to promote your posts, especially if you have a Facebook business page. This is the least preferred method, though, of advertising, and we're going to get into what you can do besides that. But if you have a great listing, if you have a great post that's being well received by your audience, by all means promote that. You can promote it to friends of your audience as well, so that, if you have a great client here, they have a great network, it's a great way to get in front of those people with a simple post promotion. Number 2 is Ads Manager. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Facebook Ads Manager. It can be a little overwhelming and daunting, so I encourage you to get in, get signed up, and spend some time inside of it. But this is going to connect to both Facebook and Instagram. It's going to help you identify the best audience for whatever it is that you're doing. You'll see as a realtor, if you use real estate or if you use realtor in your title or anything related to that, you're going to have to select a special category, which is housing. And so Facebook's going to follow HUD's rules when it comes to housing. We can't discriminate based on age, gender, a number of things. And so you're going to be less able to actually select specifics of the audience that you want if you're using any of that verbiage. But Facebook and Instagram do have a great way of identifying the people who are best suited for your audience, the ones who engage. They'll go out and they'll find audiences just like that to continue targeting to them. A/B testing. This is a great way to measure your ROI and the type of ad that you should be running. I suggest that everybody do A/B testing. That's running similar ads, but in two different ways. Right now, I have an A/B test going on. One has a carousel of photos of a property. Another one has a video that we've created just on Adobe Spark. We've taken the same pictures, but we put it to video with music, and it's just about 10 seconds long. And the video, hands down, always performs better than the photos. If it's a great listing, it might be just a marginal difference, and we didn't see a big change there. But you can experiment with wording. You can experiment with your placement, and it's going to tell you which ad performs better and gets in front of the most people. You do this enough, and you will start to notice a trend of what works and what doesn't, and then you can start to spend your money wisely. This goes back to what you were saying, Alex, about how do you spend those marketing dollars? If I get this sale, I promise I'm going to put this much money into my marketing. Well, making it as targeted as possible is going to be the best use of those funds. And of course, whenever you are advertising in Facebook and Instagram, there's a cost for each transaction or whatever you're wanting to do. If you're wanting to generate leads, you'll see that this is probably going to become like $2.50, $5, $10, depending on what your ad is and how you're getting people to engage with you. But if you're just going for likes on your page, if you're just going for impressions on a video, it is nothing for me to pay just 50 cents to get 1,000 impressions on a new listing, on an open house, and getting in front of people that are just within a 5-mile radius of this property. That's very beneficial because chances are the person who knows the next person who's going to move into a property probably lives within 5 miles of it. So let's get that information out in front of them to that targeted audience. Because, how many times have they said, I really would love to live in your neighborhood? They're going to be reaching out to those people and say, hey, take a look at this. This property is now available in our neighborhood if you want to go see it. Happens a lot. Benefits of Facebook Ads Manager. For the sake of time, I am going to read through some of these. I'll try and elaborate a little bit. If you guys have questions, please go ahead and stick them over here in the queue. I think I'm reading this right. Let's see. No questions yet. So if you have anything, shoot it over there. Ads Manager. Number one, analytics. You get to watch and adjust. Many times we've put out ads and we start watching them and, we're at 60 cents, 70 cents per click. That's not converting the way that we want to. We want to keep everything between 10 and 30 cents per click. So I'll stop the ad immediately. I'm not going to let it continue to go out there if it's not getting the result that we want. We want to make sure that we are using our funds as wisely as possible. Micro-targeting your audience. If you're not using words like realtor, real estate, if you're more general, just helping people with the home buying process, you can really get in to start targeting some of the people that you're looking for. You can look for people who are more likely to buy a house within the next 6 months. You can look for people who are interested in living in downtown areas, people who like realtor.com, anything that you can think of. You could even go for people who like Kentucky Select or whoever your biggest competition is. You can go and literally target just the people who like that page and get in front of them if you see value in doing something like that. But at the same time, you're able to monitor those results and see if you're getting the type of return that you're expecting and the engagement on what you're putting out. Number three is just a follow-up on number two is creating hyper-specific ads. So when, again, you have to be very careful with real estate, but once you get creative and you can find ways to not make your your audience or your ad about housing or the information that you're putting out, you can get hyper specific. This goes, to a lot of products that are being marketed out there today. You can look for men between the ages of 25 and 30 who like Sunday night football and also BW3s. You can get within Kentucky, Indiana, and Tennessee. So, or within a particular zip code. So you can get hyper specific with your targeting. If you have a specific core audience that you're starting to identify who really connects well with your brand. You can reach more people than with just promoting the posts. That's one of the benefits of Ads Manager, and I touched on that a little earlier. Retargeting is a big one. So what we'll do pretty often is we will run ads about open houses, about new properties coming onto the market, engaging people to connect with us. Those people who do connect with you, you can then run ads to retarget only the people who have been engaged. So that's that very, very hyper-targeted audience. You can only get out in front of them, and that's spending your money very wisely. Of course, we mentioned the ad placement on both Facebook and Instagram. And one thing that I didn't mention on here is a pixel. Facebook does offer a pixel that you can embed in your website. You can do a general pixel, or you can do very targeted pixels and make one on every single page. This is beneficial whenever you're doing marketing. If you're using a QR code to send people to a specific page of your website, you don't have to know who these people are, but Facebook will remember who has clicked on that page because that pixel is going to track them. So then you can do ads targeted only to people who have been to a certain page of your website, a certain area of your website, and then start sending out ads to them. For example, if you do a great blog post about 20 things to do whenever you list your property for sale, and you start promoting that ad on Facebook, you can embed a pixel on that page to see who is coming and to track all that traffic, then go out and run an ad on Facebook targeting only the people who have seen that. And you say, now that you see the 20 ways to get your property ready, let me help you list your property for market, and have a nice video campaign of why they should use you as their realtor. And you're in front of people who have recently been on your website looking at a specific piece of information. Instagram. Number one, have a business account. If you have a personal account, you can easily convert that into a business account. It's going to give you a lot more that you can do with it than a personal account. If you are one of those people who really want to use it to connect with your friends, and you don't just want to go out there and start interacting with a lot of realtors and people in this in the investment community, then you can create another page, just like you would on Facebook, and make that your business page, and have another one be your personal page. But whatever you do, if you're on Instagram and you want to use it to generate business and to get your voice out into the community, then you definitely need to have a business account. You can also connect that business account to Facebook. The value of this is anytime you go to post on Instagram, it can also then share to Facebook. This is a time-saving mechanism so that you're not posting to multiple locations. And number three is Linktree, or something very similar. I'm going to get to that in just a second because I have an image for you. But here are some of the benefits of the Instagram business account. Number one is access into insights. So anytime you do a post, anytime you run an ad, you're going to see insights like this. So for this particular ad, it looks like our audience was majority between the ages of 25 and 34 in the city of Los Angeles, and it was 62% male. So you know that you have, how much can you do when you know that your audience is majority men from Los Angeles between the ages of 25 and 34? Full disclosure, this is not from one of our campaigns because I probably wouldn't have a large Los Angeles audience. But by using this information, you can then continue to refine what it is that you're putting out. Because so many people, I believe, when this is intimidating or when they don't really know what they're doing, it's the entire world is their audience. We definitely want to become very focused and very niche oriented in our marketing to get the best return for your dollar. You have the beyond this, the benefits of the business account is you have the ability to add a contact button. You have the ability to add links to your stories. So whenever you're out and you're putting your stories on there, you can link to specific pages, again, of your website, of a blog post that you did, of anything that you want people to see. If you post a picture of a house, you can then embed the link so that they can go check it out on your website, on realtor.com, wherever you want to send your traffic for looking at the listings that you have. And then fourthly, we have the ability to advertise and promote posts. You can do this specifically from within Instagram, or you can use the Facebook Ads Manager, which is what I prefer. And then I mentioned Linktree. Linktree is what I use, but there are a growing number of platforms out there, both free and paid, that do a variety of things. But this allows you, as you may have noticed on Instagram, you don't have the ability to put links in your posts like you can on Facebook. You can put it in the comments, but still it's not clickable. You have to copy and paste that into a browser. And by adding that extra step, people are less likely to do it. However, if you say that you have the link in bio, then oftentimes what people are doing is they're using something like Linktree here, and they'll go in and they'll update, here's our company website, here are the listings that I have available, here's this particular property that you may have just seen that I posted an ad about. And these companies pride themselves on being the only link that you will ever need, because it allows you to put all of your important information in one place, and hopefully your target audience is going to go and find this and find value in the information that you see to be useful and beneficial to them. Hootsuite. This is a product that we use for scheduling. Social media can require a lot of your time. If you're doing it right, if you're doing it consistently, it can take a lot of time. So what you can do is you can utilize programs like Hootsuite to actually schedule posts in advance and your content and what you're going to do. Very often we'll take a weekend, we'll take a full day, we'll run a bunch of videos that we can break up in various ways, whether it be through ads, whether it be through content that we're sharing, pictures. We'll go to a property, we'll take several pictures, wardrobe change, come up with the entire content. You can sit down and over the course of just a couple of hours or a couple of minutes, if you're really good at it, schedule all of your posts to go out in the coming week, month. Every tool out there has a different kind of mechanism for that and how far in the future it will go. We'll schedule it out for a month at a time. And unless something big comes up, you have a new listing that you want to show, you have a sale that you want to promote, you can almost set it and forget it and know that some of your social media activity, just the general organic posts that you would be putting on, not the ads, that all of that is being scheduled for you. So it doesn't require as much attention on a regular ongoing basis. Because when I'm moving around from topic to topic, I'm over here, I'm over there, I get less done. So when I sit down and I get everything done through time blocking, this helps me kind of set it, forget it, go on with my day and get back to the business of selling real estate, and it doesn't consume my life. Digital staging. This is something that specifically goes over very well on social media and sharing. On the top, you see a current listing that I have before. One is a third floor empty room. And then to the right, you have the master bedroom. This owner's moved out of state, and traditional staging, you can only do so much with it. It's very expensive. So what we do is we do some digital staging. There are a ton of services that are out there. You can find them on Instagram, Facebook. Once you search for one, you'll literally get ads for 12 of them. And then the afters are at the bottom. And these monetize very well on social platforms because the pictures are so nice. People will share it, they'll like it, they'll engage with it. So the after, they're on the bottom. My buyer, after she saw these, she really wanted to move back into the house. She wished she had decorated it like this all along. We actually have another one in the mercantile that we're going to be listing later this week, and you won't believe the before and after on these staged photos with the height of the ceiling and all of the elements inside of the building. We just got them back this morning, and I continue to be blown away every time I get these staged photos back. So I highly, highly recommend them. Next, kind of goes without saying, but believe it or not, a lot of people aren't using professional photography. The iPhone, no matter how many apps, no matter how many filters out there, no matter whether you're using a wide-angle lens or setting or whatever it is, it just doesn't hold a candle to professional photography. These are 4 of our short-term rental listings, and this is how we stand out from the market. is by using professional photography. So a lot of the skills that we've learned in positioning our short-term rental properties to stand out above everybody else in an extremely crowded marketplace is to utilize professional photography. And the result really is amazing. I require it on every single listing that I do, really regardless of price point. You can get this done for $150, turn around in 24 hours, split the cost with your owner if you need to. But professional photography, whether the space is empty or furnished, is an absolute must in showing the highlights and benefits, features of the property. And again, great for social media. Video. Video is something that we've talked about a lot here. I don't know that I have a whole lot more to add to it, other than saying be sure that you are doing it. Everybody is afraid. I was afraid the first time I started doing it. Honestly, it took me 2 times, and I'm very comfortable now in front of the camera. Not perfect, always a work in progress. I'm always progressing as a host, as showcasing the property, as a realtor in front of the camera. I am always improving in that area, but until you get started, you are not going to improve. You're not going to be able to get your voice out, your properties out. You just have to rip off the Band-Aid, let it pull the hair off your arm. It's only painful for a second, and get in front of the camera, start experimenting. It's your first one. It's probably going to be garbage. Put it out there anyway. Somebody's going to love it. They're going to like it. They're going to give you the encouragement that you need to keep on going and tell you that you need your own TV show. That's the last thing that you need to hear. And then everything from there on is going to be video. And that's the last page. So thank you very much. That is my presentation. If you would like to follow me for more information on Instagram and Facebook at Top Louisville Realtor, with periods between all of them. And we like to share information for other realtors. You can just take a look at what we're doing. The Facebook page is new to us, so follower count's very little. But we are working to increase that with new strategies. I just wanted to start a new one and see what people are going to respond to and how quickly we can get those numbers up, just kind of as a challenge to myself. Instagram, we're employing some interesting, follow, unfollow techniques. My suggestion to you is do not fall for those apps out there on Instagram that allow you to automate your followers and your unfollowers. Tomorrow is the end of my 7-day ban from Instagram because they assumed that I was using one of those, even though I had disconnected it. But so a lot of people who get started want to use those apps, and I'm here to tell you there's not a lot of value in them, and it could actually get you in trouble on some of the platforms. So that's my parting message for today. But if anybody has any questions, let me know. Happy to answer them, and reach out if you'd like to discuss anything else in detail or want more information. We're always happy to share our knowledge.
Well, Jonathan, thank you so much. I'm very confident based on all of the incredible information you provided that your new Facebook page, the count will be accelerating up quickly. So I thank you so much. I'm inspired to certainly maybe address a little bit more focus on some of our marketing endeavors, and I'm sure that was very helpful content for everyone here. So again, appreciate the time. Again, if you have questions, throw it in the chat, and we can hit that here in just a little bit. We will move forward to Mr. Ernie Bottoms. Again, like I said, he's joining us all the way from Milwaukee. A little background on Ernie. After 10 years on the radio, Ernie traded in his 45s and jumped into the real estate marketing. First in 1987, when he joined the Enterprise Limited, a developer of real estate marketing products. Later, Ernie joined the broker division of Realtor.com and then Fidelity National Financial. In 2009, he joined RPR's industry relations team and continues to nurture sincere relationships with real estate professionals across the nation. It's all about the people, says Ernie. I enjoy working with MLSs and realtor associations to develop ways they can best service their subscribers and members. So, Ernie, thank you for joining us. Very happy to have you.
Thank you so much, Alex. It's great to be here. Let me just share my screen.
Perfect.
And do you see the RPR homepage?
Oh, we do not have it yet. Let's see. Yep, it's popping up now.
All right,
there
awesome.
We go.
All right, so the address there is narrpr.com. Again, you all have access to RPR. through your NAR membership. And I just wanted to kind of show you some of the tools and resources that maybe you're not familiar with that you can take advantage of and that might help you with your clients. First is the MLS data that you'll see in RPR. When you're on the RPR homepage, you're going to see in the upper right, this looks like a little green circle or a little green dot. If you go ahead and click on that, it's going to open up this larger green box and then click on where it says Listing Data Access. From here, you will then be able to see which MLSs you'll be seeing data for. The on-market is the active listing data, the off-market or historical data, and then additional information would be things like commission, compensation, agent remarks, and so on. You can look for this data throughout the whole country. Just click on the little drop down here under state, and then you can select any state to see the data that's available. So do check that out. You will see the public record data for the entire country, things like tax data, deed and mortgage recordings, foreclosure data, school information, FEMA flood maps, neighborhood and demographic data, consumer information. So you'll have all that for the entire country through RPR. Make sure that you keep your profile photo updated, and you can go ahead and change that as often as you like. When you're on the homepage, just click on the little gear in the upper right. That's your settings and profile. And it's very easy to change your photo. Just select the change photo option, and it'll take you to look for a photo on your computer. And you can go ahead and then select that, and then you can crop it to make it just the right size for you. So here I added my COVID mask for my profile. So again, very easy to change. You can also update a logo or a company logo for yourself if you want to do that as well. Down here in the lower part of the screen, you have an option here, Receive RPR Updates and News. Make sure you check that box. That's going to make sure that you get updates from RPR whenever we add new tools and resources, which we do about every quarter. On the right-hand side is your mobile app, any devices that you've connected there. Up here in the upper left is the settings option. This is where you can kind of customize how you want things displayed on RPR. New listings can be set from anywhere from 1 day to 30 days. Recent sales, anywhere from 7 days to 180 days. So again, as the market changes, you can modify that. And that's both for residential and for commercial. Any changes you make, do hit the save button to make sure that they're saved. All right, next thing I wanted to show you on RPR is our mailing labels. So every month you have 2,000 mailing labels that you can generate through RPR, and there's no cost for this, so do take advantage of it. I'm just going to come to the home page. We're just going to do a property search. So again, I'm looking for all properties and in this particular zip code. So let's go ahead and do our search. And then we're going to find this neighborhood called Audubon Park. And the way we do that is we show geographies here in the upper right of the map. And I'm just going to select micro neighborhoods. I'm sorry, minor neighborhoods. And let me just zoom out a little bit. And then we can just slide up until we get to Audubon Park. And then what I wanted to do is when we're in this area, we're just going to hit the search in this area. So let me just redo this and go ahead and hit search. And then you can see that we have how many properties? 246 properties are in this neighborhood that we've selected. And then right above the map, we have the mailing labels option. So I'm just going to click on that. And you have the option of either downloading a CSV file, which would be like an Excel type file that you can then import into a contact manager program. You also have the ability of downloading any one of 3 Avery label formats. Now, the nice thing is once you download these labels, you don't have to re-download them next month or the month after probably. You can just reuse these labels, which gives you still 2,000 more labels that you can download. So we can choose how do we want these addressed. Do we want it sent to the property address or the tax billing address? We can address it to the owner's name, the owner or current resident, or we can type something else. And then we have some filters to refine our list. So we can do all properties. We can do only those that are owner occupied. So that's taking it down from 221 to 211. We can exclude listed properties. So that brought it down to 208. So again, we can kind of refine our search there. Then we can go ahead and generate those mailing labels. And if you do need more than 2,000 labels in a month, you can purchase additional ones at a reduced cost. Again, the first of each month, your 2,000 count is going to be reset, and you can take advantage of that. All right, just a couple of quick tools I wanted to show you as long as we're here on the map. You've got some nice resources here at the top where you can draw shapes, box, circle, or a free-form shape. You can use our map pins. One of the most popular is the drive time search. So if you're working with a buyer who says, well, I want to live within so many minutes of where I work, you can drop the pin at their work location. Are they commuting by car? Are they walking? What time of the day do they want to commute, day of the week, and how long of a commute? You can then hit apply, and it's going to show you, in this case, a 15-minute commute from that location, 8 a.m. Monday morning. If you click within this purple circle, you can go ahead and search for properties that match that criteria. So again, very easy to use. Again, we have the geographical overlays that you have on the map. And let me just zoom back in a little bit. And then over here on the right, we have what we call points of interest. And this is where you can overlay the map with different data. So if your buyer wants to know, well, where are the daycare centers in this area? You can overlay those. So we can see here's a daycare center. There's another one up here. And it tells you, this is one employee, 16,000 in business. So it's probably somebody that ran it out of their home. But you have all different kinds of businesses that you can overlay on the map. And then below the map, we have different heat maps where you can overlay different data on the map. So for instance, if we wanted to look at the FEMA flood zones, we can look at that. So let me just zoom out a little bit. So here we have some flood zones. We can also look at the 12-month change in value in this area, see where property values are going up, where they're declining. So again, lots of great information available right here on the map. Next thing we're going to look at is how you add your own custom content into RPR reports. So again, that's very easy to do. When you're on the report page, over here on the right-hand side, there's a section that says Manage Custom Pages. So go ahead and click that. And this allows you to upload up to 5 PDF documents into RPR to be included in your reports. Each PDF has to be less than 10 meg, but again, a 10 meg PDF file is very, very big. So let's go ahead and add a new file, new page. And I'm just going to pick the one up here called 20 Tips for Selling Your Home in 2020. And you can see that this is only a 220K file. So again, it's very small. But this is a 3-page PDF. So again, a lot of content. You then decide, do you want to put that at the beginning of the report or at the end of the report? And then again, depending on the report that you're generating, you can choose to exclude or include that data, that information for your customer. So again, manage custom pages. You can add that for all of these different reports, and you can have up to 5 PDF files. Next thing is just a great tool that we have in RPR. It's our market activity reports. And this is a great tool that you can send out to your sphere of influence, past buyers, past sellers, people you know from church or from some civic organization. Just a great way to reach out to folks. So let's go ahead and say that you have a past customer that lives in this subdivision, Scottsdale, and we're going to go ahead and run our market activity. And you can see that selection here at the top of the search bar. So let's go ahead and run that. And then here we are at this neighborhood, and we can see what market activity happened in this area. So again, this is something that we can send out to, maybe a past buyer, just to kind of say, hey, here's what's happening in the real estate market in your area, and it kind of gets them thinking. So let's go ahead and put a market activity report together. That's right here on our report page. I'm going to select more details. And again, you can include any of these custom pages that you've uploaded. You can customize the report by any of these sections. So if there's something here you don't want to include, just go ahead and uncheck the box. You can choose the time frame that you want to run the report for, 3 days all the way up to 6 months, property statuses, property types, and then you can refine the search based on property characteristics. And then here you can choose how many of each that you'd like to include. Down here, you can choose how you want to deliver the report, either download a PDF that you would then send through your email program, or maybe you'd even print it and hand deliver it, or you can send it directly from RPR. When you generate the reports, they're going to be appearing in this upper left-hand column, and they'll stay in this column for 30 days. If you want to download the report, you can just right-click and save it to your computer. If you want to refresh the report, just go ahead and hit the orange circle. You can then download it. And you also have the option of sharing that report on Facebook. So again, these market activity reports are really nice that you can share them on Facebook to say, hey, if you're wondering what's happening in the real estate market in Scottsdale, in Louisville, not in Arizona, you can go ahead and run that report. So let's go ahead and take a look at the market activity report that I ran here. Again, the neighborhood is shown on the map. My contact information is shown below. Oh, sorry about that. Just want to scroll through the report. So again, here we can see the estimated home values in the area, the 12-month change in values, distressed properties in the area, sales prices, list price, and then we can kind of review what's happening in the market. So here we can see there's 7 pending offers that have come in recently in this area. We have 1 price reduction. And then we have 8 recently sold properties. So there's been a lot of good activity in this area. This kind of just gives a little information about the RPR data. And then here's my custom page, my biography, and then followed by testimonials. So again, this was just a nice 15-page report, just a couple of mouse clicks, and it was very easy to generate. Oh, and I meant to say also, if you do have any questions, please type them into that Q&A box, and then we'll answer those as we go. So again, if you have a question, just go ahead and type that in. Also through RPR, and again with this time of the virus and all things that are different, you can even do virtual listing presentations through the seller's report in RPR. So for instance, here's a property that perhaps you're going to go out and do a listing presentation for. You can see we have that estimated value for that property, our RVM. You can see the confidence score of the RVM there, so we kind of know how good do we feel about it. You've got the Google Street View, so again, you can move up and down the neighborhood. You also have the option of uploading your own photo. So again, very easy. Just select Upload Photo, select the photo that you'd like to include, and then you can choose to hit Edit, and then say, you know what, let's use that for our report cover page. Anything you do, again, hit Save, and then that's saved for you. Now, RPR is a little different than the MLS. Well, actually a lot different. But anything you do in RPR, uploading a photo, changing a value of a property, it's only changed or uploaded for your access. Nobody else is going to see that. Again, it's just for you. So we have all kinds of great information here in RPR. We have multiple tabs where you can refine the value. You can do a CMA. But let's go ahead and, again, we're going to just do a quick report here. And this is called the seller's report. And again, you can customize the report based on the different criteria. And let's go ahead and look at that seller's report. So again, the property photo here, which you can, again, upload. Here you have the estimated value for the property. And again, you do have the option of refining the value based on your market knowledge and the condition of the property. Here's the home facts for the property. Property history. Here's the mortgage and deed recording. So again, you can talk to them. How much money do they still owe? You can bring that right into the discussion. Here you have some great charts and graphs, list price versus sale price, average price adjustment. So again, you can use this to kind of work that seller into coming up with a reasonable sale price. Again, lots of great charts and graphs. Shows that you're an expert on the market. And then we have some current market conditions or market activity. So here are some actives that you're going to be competing with when we list your home, some pending offers that have come in recently sold properties, distressed properties, expired listings, and so on. Recommended pricing strategy, seller proceeds, and then finally your personal content. So this was a really nice 23-page report that I was able to put together, again, with just a couple of mouse clicks. So do check out those reports. They're very powerful. And again, the consumers love them. So do check out all the great reports in our PR. Scrolling down to the very bottom, I just want to show you real quickly. There's a link down here that says blog. There's also one that says learning. You have some great resources that you can access right there. We've got webinars, we've got videos you can watch. We have tutorials, ebooks, all kinds of stuff. So do check out those links way down at the bottom of the page where you can get a lot of great information. So that's basically what I wanted to show. Hopefully that answered some questions for some people, gave you some ideas of things you might want to try.
Yeah, Ernie, that was fantastic. I think a lot of folks, especially new agents in our industry, as they're trying to learn Flex MLS and they do CMAs, we've really tried to make a point to spend more time on RPR, whether it's residential or commercial, because the reports are so invasive and they really are in terms of educating you as a seller or like representing your client, educating yourself on the property, but also your presentation is just so much more enhanced through RPR and some of the platforms. So it's one of those things, I'm sure you would attest to it. You got to spend time on the platform,
Yep.
But it is so beneficial. And I think, again, in that brief synopsis, we're seeing how much can be pulled in a report that really makes, I think, the traditional CMAs just seem pretty rudimentary. So thank you for sharing that. We really do appreciate you being here. And certainly, I know you would suggest folks get on RPR. It is such a great service for what we are paying for in our dues to our association. And so, a big advocate for what you guys are offering. And it's absolutely great.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Alex.
Perfect. Before we go over to our final speaker, Dylan Cole, I did just want to touch on the GLAR YPN Leadership Award. We are taking applications for that. So go to GLAR YPN. Sorry, my computer has just switched out here. Give me 1 second, folks. There we go. My apologies. So the GLAR Young Professionals Network, the scholarship is aiming to recognize emerging leaders striving for success in the real estate industry while establishing the GLAR YPN as a valuable resource for professional growth. Candidates must maintain active membership with GLAR and so demonstrate dedication to the real estate industry in areas of professional development, participation, and promotion of the realtor brand. Go check out the GLAR YPN website. Click on the Emerging Leader Program. There's a bevy of awards and support that come with the top 5 finalists and the winners all together. So please check it out. You can certainly recommend someone, and the date for final applications is coming up relatively soon. So definitely check it out. Our final speaker, if we can get. There we go, Dylan. Thanks for your patience. I'm sure you learned so much about the real estate industry, which I don't know how much that will help you from a professional perspective, but I know that we'll give a little feedback on you and then jump right into it. So Dylan Cole and his partner Michael Elgin were born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky. Starting at a very young age, they wanted to be financial advisors. Dylan's mother was an elementary school teacher for over 30 years in the JCPS system. Loved the characteristics she expressed as a patient and passionate educator. I'm sure patient mother as well, Dylan. I'm sure you'd attest to that. It compelled his aspirations to be an educator in some aspect, aligning his analytical side with his passion to become an educator. Choosing the role as a financial advisor was the right fit. Dylan and his team continually devoted to further education as they work to achieve their mission as being the center of their clients' financial lives, helping them to live by design rather than by default. Graduated from the University of Kentucky with a finance degree, then went on to further his education by obtaining various designations, such as the Certified Financial Planner and Chartered Financial Consultant designation. So, Dylan, thanks for being here. I think we've talked about enhancing our business. We've talked about in terms of what we're presenting to clients, and maybe now it's how we can take care of ourselves from a financial perspective. So feel free to jump right in, and we can go from there.
Wonderful. Appreciate it, Alex. And thank you for the introduction. Can you hear me all right?
You're perfect. Great.
Wonderful. I was getting a little communication error on the top there, but sounds like we're all right.
Sends me those all the time. So
yeah. Okay. So following up on one of the comments that you mentioned, and that is truly our passion and our mission to help people live by design rather than default. With that being the case, just kind of up front here, my team and I, we collaborate with our clients, many of whom are realtors and those with fluctuating pay, to build tailored goal-based financial plans. And a financial plan can mean a million different things to a million different people because we're all different. Everyone has their own unique goals, priorities, objectives, and everybody has their own unique starting point. Knowing that everyone's different, it's our belief that inherently the financial plan to get you from where you are to where you want to be down the road needs to be based around your goals. So we always seek to understand before just giving general advice. However, when talking to a group of people, it's helpful to still give general advice. So that's what we're here to do today. We asked to cover a couple points that I'll talk through, but I did want to let everyone know, if you have questions regarding your specific situation or want any advice or somebody to help put together a comprehensive financial plan for you, we're more than happy to do so. And we don't charge a fee for the consultations, zero cost, no obligation. There's a form if you go to the top. I like it in Snapchat, you swipe up, to subscribe. But in here, if you go to the top, there's a tab. There's a little handout form. Is that accurate, Alex?
It is right there.
You can fill that out and email it over to me, or just simply reach out to me. I believe, I have my contact information on there. I'm happy to find some time that works well.
I think a quick point on that, Dylan, before we hop into your points, is that I think a lot of folks maybe in our industry, they're getting started, or maybe, again, even if you're a seasoned vet, but it's, I don't have enough money to reach out to a financial planner. I'm a little, it doesn't maybe make sense, but it's funny because we develop all these plans for our buyers, for our sellers. We develop a business plan for ourselves. What are we going to do to further enhance our business? What's this look like? What am I going to make? But then it's like, I'll get to the financial planning later once I've had all of these sales. But it seems like maybe this should be something integrated into the first phase of what we're all trying to do. And we shouldn't maybe be nervous to reach out to someone like yourself to get these questions answered and start that plan as well.
So we back everything into that. We take into consideration, if you're working with a brokerage, what's the payout scale there? What's the typical home value sale that you're having, so that we're tying that in to your goals, your annual goals for within your company, within your business, to achieve this beautiful future that you want to have, to be well positioned, not only today, but also down the road. And when we're talking about financial planning, that can mean, like I was saying, a lot of different things. It could be partially paying down different debts as efficiently as possible, saving, investing in various accounts, and investing in yourself, investing in your business, investing in marketing. What we've hit on a lot today, that pays dividends. That is an investment in your business and yourself. But we will talk about diversification. There's power in diversification and having different accounts and placing different, money in different areas to have optionality and flexibility throughout your life. So the points that we were asked to talk about today were cutting excess spending, strategic budgeting, and shifting your focus around business finance. There's a lot of different areas that we can help out around planning, but I want to make sure that we cover those topics since that's what we were asked to cover. So around cutting excess spending, I started thinking, yesterday, like this is a common conversation that we've had with a lot of our clients that we're working with right now or earlier this year through the COVID impact. Some of them have been impacted by that situation compared to others, like a lot larger of an impact there. So having conversations and some common ways that we've seen, areas of opportunity to cut back there on maybe unnecessary spending. One that came up was like gym memberships. So gym memberships, maybe it was just through COVID, but also maybe now. Maybe have a gym membership and we just don't utilize it. Like there's probably a lot of expenses that were automatically set up for draft that are just coming out of our bank account. Let's look through our previous 2 months of statements and see if there are any unnecessary expenses like that. And also there's also other alternatives. There's plenty of free workouts that you can access online or through video and live streams. What other subscriptions are you not using? And I'm not talking about Netflix. I'm sure everybody's getting their fair share of Netflix right now. But maybe like dating sites or clothing rental or beauty box that you're not using right now. Another one that we saw was credit cards. So credit card interest rates. You can call up your bank and ask them to lower your APR, your interest rate on your credit card. It's nice to do so, even if you don't have a balance outstanding on your card. When doing so, I would say definitely mention you've been a long-time customer, you have a good track record. I don't care if you've been a bad customer and have a horrible track record. Mention that. And saying that you were calling. Don't ask like, can I decrease my interest rate, my APR on my card? Tell them that that's why you were calling in. You were calling in to decrease that rate on your card, and also increase my maximum limit that I can spend on that card. And it doesn't hurt to mention you've found competing credit card offers with lower APRs. And, sometimes it makes sense too, if we have an outstanding balance and we're working towards paying that down, to roll that balance to a 0% APR card. There's a lot of banks that will offer 12 months, 15, 18 months, 0% APR if you roll a balance into that. Another one was energy costs. So just thinking outside the box here, I think this is one that we miss a lot, but being at home a lot like we are today, we use a lot of different devices. We're plugging in, and oftentimes maybe we have a lamp in a room or something where we plug it in and we turn it off. That doesn't necessarily mean it's off. It's still sucking energy. So being aware of that, maybe pulling that plug out can cut some expense on energy costs. Another common one would be unnecessary expenses. Maybe just because I can write it off, being a business owner, I can write it off as a business expense. Think about that when you're making that expense. Are you just doing it for the tax deduction? Or do you really want to be making that expense? Because there's other ways that we can be getting tax deductions to help out. You can be, like we were talking about, putting money back into your business, marketing. You can put money into an IRA, a SEP IRA, a traditional IRA, and we're not spending the money, but we still get the tax deduction and we get to retain that money, not losing it. And, you know, are we taking advantage of our tax deductions that we can utilize for our home office setting? Make sure that we're working with a CPA to calculate that out. There's a lot of gray area. Being 1099 contracted, that is a good thing that you can utilize and be more strategic in your tax planning. But I would say big piece here is it's a very valuable experience just reviewing past statements. Go through a budget. You know, I can send you one if you want one. We have multiple different template budgets, but you can download one online and just going through that, seeing where's our money going and filling out a budget to see what are our fixed expenses. We're becoming more aware of where our money's being allocated and where we need to potentially cut back or what are unnecessary expenses. And I think that would segue into the strategic budgeting topic. So I would start by, we got to fill out a budget. You know, we got to hit pen to paper or, you know, Excel sheet to see where's our money going. And then from there, we can start living by design rather than default. Oftentimes the struggle, I have fluctuating income as well. You know, high months, low months, just like many realtors and many of the people that we work with. How I level those highs and lows is I start paying myself an income. We've found that it's just like too tough to budget if we're following all the little line items. Like I'm spending this much, you know, on groceries and this much on dining out, this much on shoes and gas. It's like, well, I spent $5 less this month on gas. You know, can I overspend on groceries? Becomes labor intensive. And then what happens? We just don't do it. We don't follow it. Paralysis of analysis. So thinking about like, how can I simplify this as much as possible so that I actually follow it? I'll follow one number. So I have fixed expenses, variable expenses, you know, discretionary, fun, flexible expending, whatever you want to call it. But I have fixed expenses. That's my utilities, my mortgage, my financial planning contributions. Like these are coming out every single month. And I'm putting those on auto pay. That's coming out of one account that my income is going into. I put all my checks into that account. And then out of that account, I have a separate account that I send every 2 weeks. I have an auto transfer of a certain amount to go over there for all those variable expenses like gas, grocery, dining out, fun, travel. It kind of all gets jumbled together of us just like swiping our card. So I have one card for that account, and that is the one that I'm swiping. Everything else is on auto draft, my fixed expenses. Now I'm being aware of how much I'm spending throughout the month. And you can set up alerts to say like, you're a third of the way through your balance there. You're 2/3 of the way through your balance there. You're about to overdraft. I can help you set that up if you don't know how to. I even get a text. I like take it a step further and even get a text sent to my phone to let me know where I'm at throughout those 2 weeks. You can automate that stuff. And that way I'm being aware. I'm living off of a salary now. Even though I have this fluctuating income, like I'm living off of a salary now, it feels like, and it's more comforting. So to be able to start that, I would start it with a paycheck. You know, whenever you make the next home sale, let's start it then. We can't start it if there's no money in the account. But we start it, move from there. And you can work based off of, say, last year's statements. There's like a lot of banks you can go online and see end of year statements of your expenses. And nowadays they're very elaborate and show you like different categories and stuff to help with what's that number that I should start out with sending over to that other account for my variable spending. And trial and error. You try, maybe it's $2,000 every 2 weeks and you're like, oh, that's not enough. I felt like I'm only going out on triple coupon Wednesdays and only eating ramen noodles. Well, we can adjust, but it's making you more aware. And that's the important part. That last 20, so thinking about, like I was saying, in fixed expenses, and I know I'm running up on time here. Just be brief. Is this going to get shut off?
It should not. Should be good to go.
Okay, because I did want to touch on the shifting your focus on business finances. Just briefly, what my thoughts are on that. So we were talking about a part of your fixed expenses. Let's make sure that, hey, Tasha, your financial plan contributions are a part of that. And there's a general rule of thumb when it comes to budgeting that is general, but having thousands and thousands of planning analysis ran for many different families, we've found that this rule of thumb is very accurate. 20, 60, 20. Okay, so your income, 20, 60, 20. After you've set aside money for taxes, and I don't want to tell you how much to set aside of your income on taxes, because some of you are at 15, 20%, 30%, 40% tax bracket. So I don't want to overestimate or underestimate. But after you set aside the appropriate amount of money you need for taxes, what's left over, we've found that if you use 20% of that to go towards your financial plan, it's paying down debts, investing back in yourself, your business, investing in IRAs, investment accounts, other accounts that are guaranteed to grow as well. It's nice to have money that's guaranteed to grow, not just tied up in real estate, not just tied up in the stock market. There's a balance there. We find that those families doing that, they're able to live a comfortable life and achieve all the things that they wanted to. Send the kids to school, go get that lake house that we've always wanted to, retire at a reasonable age, if you ever want to start slowing down. Now, what happens with that, the leftover 80%? So we've found that if we make sure that 60%, like our fixed expenses, fit within 60% of our income, which you can base off of last year's income, then having 20% left over to spend on flexible fun spending, we don't feel like we're living paycheck to paycheck. It's comfortable. Situational, we can scale it up, scale it back, but I think that's a good starting point to think about that.
Well, Dylan, thank you. I mean, that's very valuable information. I think folks just need to certainly reach out to you, go to the handout section, but taking advantage of the automation that's provided to folks in terms of drafts and reserving capital in certain pockets is certainly a great start. Shouldn't be afraid to reach out to Dylan and certainly inquire and get a plan together because it's vital, especially with our industry and the fluctuations. Did want to kind of close things out. Really thank Jonathan for all of his marketing insights. Ernie with touching on RPR. Folks, go check out RPR. We pay for it, and there's just a bevy of helpful information to support your business there. And certainly, Dylan, thank you for finishing the show here. I think a lot of us lots to think about, from marketing to then RPR, and then all the way to checking our financing and certainly making a plan. So we certainly from GLAR YPN hope this has been a helpful seminar for folks. Check out GLARYPN.com. We'd love to have folks join. And certainly apply for the scholarship we have out there as well. And again, appreciate and very much thank our speakers for spending some time with us today. And that'll do it. All right. Everybody have a wonderful week.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So long.